Do it.
We are recording for YouTube. Say
What's
hi,
up,
YouTube.
guys?
What's up, YouTube?
Alrighty, and
YT.
last but not least, what was that? YT what?
I just said YT.
YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
YouTube.
I dig it. All right, last but not least, we're going live for the podcast. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Business Bros. Yeah, what up, ladies and gentlemen? Now I can speak freely and I don't have to censor myself, stop myself, and asking questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Hernan Cias, host of the Business Bros podcast, along with my co-host,
The insurance bro, James Cias with Pipeline Insurance.
and we got a good show for you today.
We got an excellent show for you today. We have Mr. Matt Nugent from Matt Nugent Productions. Find him on Instagram at Matt Nuge.
Woo woo!
Woo, we are excited
you
to
all.
have this guy on the show. Matt, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be out here and enjoy this beautiful view.
Right?
Yeah.
It's definitely, and today's kind of a muggy day. It's kind of weird. It's been a weird week. Like one day it was kind of overcast like this, but you can see clear. Everything was perfectly clear. Like that overcast didn't come down where you couldn't block. And today it's kind of a little muggy. I mean, you can see the water, but usually it's nice and clear. But still, beautiful day. Beautiful day.
Absolutely.
Lovely San
Can't
Diego.
complain.
Can't complain.
Hey, before we get started, I forgot 365 pairs of shoes by the end of the year. So if you have some new shoes, some gently used shoes, some cash that you want to donate to the shoe pile collection, hit up James 619-884-0045 or James at csfirst.com. He'll ride over in his Harley like he did today and pick those bad boys up. So go ahead, hit him up 619-884-0045 or James at csfirst.com. All right, Matt. So as always, I want to know your backstory, dude. I want to know where you came from, how you got into this particular business.
Sure, absolutely. Well, my backstory is I'm born and raised in San Diego, California, so I'm a native for sure. And kind of where I was and where I am now is that's kind of a long story, but let's shorten it up and make it sweet. So right now, I'm basically starting my own production company, and for the past 8 years prior to that, I've been in the healthcare industry, all different areas of healthcare. And I have my nursing degree for the last 3 years. I've worked as a nurse for some of the biggest hospitals around, and I've done about 4 different things with that degree, everything from a little bit of work in the knowledge commerce space online, to post-surgical work, to helping with software implementation, and most recently for the past year and a half I was on the heme oncology unit and trained to do bone marrow transplants, stem cell transplants, administered different types of chemo drugs, and manage patients' plans of care who are undergoing a very tough time in life. And
You did little things like save lives.
I've had people die in my hands, and I've helped people leave the hospital, so I've seen it all. Just like most people, I've experienced a lot of tragedy, both inside the professional setting as well as outside of the professional setting. So that's kind of where I was professionally in the corporate world.
Yeah, that's kind of a real, I don't know, there's not very many fields where you can go out and say, I've literally made a difference in someone's life. I speak to real estate agents and we help people buy and sell homes, and those are all great things. They help memories, right? But health is one of those things where, if you're not healthy, everything else falls off. I don't care what you're chasing at that point. If you can't wake up in the morning comfortably, if you can't walk, if you can't talk, if you can't breathe, those types of things are when you're talking about the hierarchy of things, that one's way up there. There's no other field that I can think of where you don't get that much satisfaction. So why'd you end up leaving that field?
Well, I wouldn't say I've left the field, because that's always serving others and helping others, and hopefully continuing to make healthier decisions for myself and trying to empower others with knowledge to do the same is something I'll always be passionate about and will always be a huge part of who I am. And so, but maybe I would say kind of the question it sounds like you're asking is, what made you decide to jump out of that, out of the hospital setting, right? And kind of dive into this kind of production business. And Really, I mean, I can think of a lot of different reasons, but one of the main ones is just more time freedom, and being able to connect with more of our community members. Because when I'm working, say, a 12-hour shift in the hospital, I'm limited by time and space. I literally am limited to the amount of interactions that I can have, the amount of people that I can influence. And I realized pretty quickly that broadcast radio or media allows for permissionless leverage, as Naval will say in his podcast. And everybody wants leverage, everybody wants more time freedom, and it's everyone's fighting to get it, And so that's one of the reasons. And two, I was looking at what area of what I've been doing in the hospital have I enjoyed most these past 8 years. What area do I enjoy most, and can I see myself investing in long term? Because like you were telling me, there's 100 different things you could do with a nursing degree in the field of nursing, and we're very fortunate that we have that flexibility. And for me, I always enjoyed the patient education aspect of it, the dialogue that I would have with families when they'd have questions, when I would go and get them information if I didn't have the information. And so I really was like, I really like this aspect of my job. And early on, I worked for a company, a knowledge commerce company called Simple Nursing, early in my career. And they're probably one of the biggest online companies when it comes to knowledge commerce for nursing students. So I got a taste of that early on, a little bit of taste of video production and what it's like to help a lot of people with this type of technology. And so I just thought, it makes sense. If I love this so much, what is the number one skill set that I need to develop, that I enjoy, that will allow me to take that skill set to the exponential level of communicating with others, educating others, if empowering others with information, even selling information, selling products. If I want to start a business, how would I do all that? And I realized it was with production technology. So, this past couple of years, I've been commuting back and forth between City of Hope up in LA and seeing my parents down here in San Diego and investing in this community down here, knowing that I would eventually come back. But I went up there and took a very good career opportunity for some fantastic training. And the whole time I was kind of putting away money, and I started investing in video production technology about a year ago. And I started with me investing and learning how to build online courses, because that's kind of what I was doing for that first company that I was working for in a way. I was more behind the scenes of the production, was more managing some of their marketing activities. We helped build out a scholarship, and I oversaw a lot of that and helped them rebrand themselves and do a lot of things. So I just knew that eventually I was going to jump, and I call it running a life experiment. So basically, I'm going to, start investing in building this skill set for a set period of time and just kind of see what happens with it.
It's crazy because once you get into the production set, right? There's so many avenues in that aspect that you could do. What comes to mind to me is Dr. Pimple Popper or the Foot Bro. Have you seen those shows?
No, I haven't seen.
So the Foot Bro is exactly how it sounds. He works on feet. Okay. Like all day long, right? And people come in and it's their story about whatever. I've worked in construction my whole life. I've used construction boots. I don't really change my socks very often. And now I got XYZ problem, right? And so, he'll take a look at the actual foot. And some people, like I remember watching that show. I caught it because I was in a hotel on a road trip, right? So the kids were like, cool, that's interesting. The wife was like, that's disgusting. I don't want to watch that, right? But everybody has a different tolerance to what they want to see. Yet, I learned things like how you should be washing, right? What types of fungal infections are treatable, what types you have to come in for, just by watching a show that was intriguing, right? Same thing with Dr. Pimple Popper. She'll talk about cysts. She'll talk about different skin conditions that pop up. And it's just intriguing information about people that are going to the doctor. That's one aspect. You're even talking about complete the other side, which is coursework. Like maybe you want to get a certification in something. So here's the information that you can do. I mean, there's all kinds of different stuff. You can literally vlog a life of a doctor. Maybe that's something that people want to see. What's it like going to school in medicine? What's it like doing, those hours that you need to do at a hospital? What's it like in the emergency room? What's it like, in the being a PD, whatever it is. Yeah. Like there's all kinds of different avenues that you can do in production. But now you're right. It opens your eyes to, well, what exactly is the message that I want to spread?
So true, and kind of what you're speaking to is what one of my ultimate goals with this is actually to marry the two. So do production work within the medical community, whether it be filming surgeries or creating healthcare documentaries, vlogs for say healthcare influencers or businesses, local businesses, and so really marrying the two so that I get to combine each skill set and stay within that my circle of competence and my passion for healthcare. And so that's exactly, I'm on that journey right now, and I knew that, working 40 hours a week straight and coming home and trying to learn as much about the video production technology and all that comes along with that, I was really just stunted by, that time and energy. I knew to get really good at it, I couldn't do it just part-time, know? And so, I'm like, at some point I'm going to jump for a bit and really just go more full-time, see how much momentum I can build, see where I can get myself in a set period of time and, kind of just continue on. But knowing that this is cameras, developing creative projects, is something that I always want to be doing for the rest of my life. So, they say...
When did you figure it out? When did you know you had a passion for that sort of thing? I mean, it's totally different. Everybody has a skill that they want to learn that they're doing maybe professionally. Like, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to be a nurse. That's great. But then you have this passion behind you, right? Then you're always picking up the camera and you're like, you go out and you take pictures and maybe it's still photo, maybe it's video, maybe it's audio, right? You're doing certain things that you want to do as a hobby, and yet you do have your professional life. At what point did you find that connection? You were like, you know what, this is great, but this really makes me happy. Like, I like doing this, but this is what I really wake up for every day.
Yeah, that's a great point. I don't know if there was just one set moment. It's kind of been like a constant journey of iteration, just constantly. It was, about July of last year when I purchased my first online course on how to build courses. That led me to learn more about cameras and audio equipment, and through that kind of deep dive, I found a good online course called Full-Time Filmmaker by Parker Wahlbeck. What up, Parker? And once I got into that, I was like, wow, I was blown away by these people's ability to go out and make these really creative projects. And I had, a couple of years ago, I had made a couple little videos for, my first video was for a workout boot camp that's still going on today. It's actually for the Health and Wealth Network. My friends Lacey and Nathan Bird, who run a network of they're fitness coaches and performance athletes, and they've had this network that they've been building for years. And a couple of years ago, I did a whole video of their workout, their boot camp, and I did it just because I enjoyed it, and I didn't know anything about production at that time, and I thought what came out of it as a result was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And so I've been making videos for a little while, and I'd also been exploring my passion of dance, and that's how I met my current girlfriend. And through that, I'm like, gosh, one day I want to make a music video. I want to perform and create a performance. And so that's kind of like how it started. And so once I learned how to build courses, and then that took me further down kind of the rabbit hole, I was like, oh, because building courses is a very niche subset of production, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's quite as it's not quite as exciting as like to me as like making a music video and getting a bunch of artists together and dancing.
So why the coursework? You feel like it's a place where you can like generate revenue enough to do so versus the other one you have more fun with?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's the potential in both for sure, but definitely I saw the course a huge need within the healthcare community, even with City of Hope, where I was working with, who I was working for the past 2 years, and I worked on their fall prevention project as part of a quality improvement project that they had us do as new residents, and that required me to coordinate with another big cancer organization, Brigham Women's, and I would just, I would see how outdated these training videos were, how uninteresting and unengaging they were, and understanding that all courses are going online, and that's where the trend's been going for years now. And just the intriguing thought of how do I take this and make it more interesting and more palatable, and create a topic on, maybe it's how to monitor for a very kind of boring topic on how to monitor someone for altered level of consciousness and confusion, and how do I make that interesting and palatable for employees and get stakeholder buy-in and do things like that. So I knew that there was just a ton of demand for creating educational content for healthcare businesses. Yeah.
Well, okay, so you can go the educational route, right? But I feel like you're almost, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you're almost convincing yourself that that's the way you should go as compared to where you want to go.
That's a great way to put it.
Just in the words that you're using, you know what I mean? Like in other words, it's something that many entrepreneurs do, or many people do, that when they want to take that leap and they want to call it a business, and all of a sudden you look for the thing that's going to create the greatest revenue for what you're doing, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, you could definitely do a really good job at that. It's just like, it sounded like before when we were talking, I was like, you wanted to do something like, dude, I want to entertain people. I want to have fun. I want to create a music video. I want to do this, this other stuff. And when you speak, when you're speaking about both, one of them you sounded like super excited, like a little kid almost. And the other one, you put your entrepreneur hat on and you're like, this is, I could really structure this one the right way. Yeah. So, how are you going to make that balance, that shift? Because if it was me, I'd almost tell you like, well, you already have that consistency at the hospital, right? So if you wanted the consistency, maybe you stay in the hospital. And if you want to develop this other thing on the side where you're going to jump in where you care, where you really love it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs that have been saying, that a lot of the same things of, build your business around the things that you love to do. Yeah. Not the other way around. Don't build your business around what you have to do. Build it around what you want to do, because that way every day you wake up, you're going to have fun with it. You're going to enjoy it a little more.
Well, that's very insightful for you to say that, because and that really hits me to the core, because I just got back from doing that. I was in Connecticut for last week filming for one of my really good buddies. He has a professional fly fishing company, and that's his passion, Pogo Pike, and really one of my biggest passions is immersing myself around my friends and building relationships with people of character and learning about their passions through osmosis. And that's what I got to do this last week. Like, there was a lot of times where it wasn't easy, but gosh, it was one of the most rewarding things I've experienced recently. And I love being a sponge, man. I love being out in the community and learning from others, and that's what film can allow you to do. And your banner says for Business Bros, it's a relationship building platform.
That's absolutely true.
It's
absolutely true.
Yeah.
Every single person that comes on the show has a skill set, has some sort of passion behind what it is that they do on a regular basis. Sometimes it's obvious and they're doing it. Sometimes it's not so obvious. But anytime we sit down and talk to them, it's like I get a 30-minute education. Like I literally am able to sit down, listen to your story, and learn from your experiences and from your, whatever it is that you're bringing to the table. I thrive on that. That's like the funnest part to me. And the cool thing is I get to experience that here one-on-one, and so does everybody else who I'm recording with for that medium. Yeah. And I figure that's kind of that should be the extension of what you're doing too. Except if you're going to do it on video, if you already want to do that, you already want to go out and learn about whatever it is that they're doing. You want to be that sponge. And if you're able to document that and bring that story to other people, well, you're literally sharing and educating somebody else on something that you like to be educated in. And so I don't know, right. Like that to me is like, well, of course I'm going to want to do it every day. Guy Fieri, right? Goes around to all these places because he loves to check out food and eat. Yeah. And he gets to record it, document it, and share with everybody else. And there are people who like to do that. I mean, you have tons of shows that do that centered around somebody's unique passion. And I think one of those things is we ourselves individually have to figure out what it is that we really want to do every day, and then try to build something around that. Yeah. And that's the hardest part. If we can use our structure, our normal jobs to fund whatever life brings, and then slowly build something over here, I've had this thought in my mind. I used to have this idea that, I've always known that retirement is not an age problem. It's a cash flow problem, right? So if you can solve the cash flow problem, you're done. But I'm starting to steer away from the word retirement because I don't feel like I personally will ever stop working.
Sure.
I just want to be able to figure out a way to do what I love to do to replace what I have to do. Yeah. And if I can figure that out, right, then it doesn't matter. I'll be 80 years old still doing the same thing as long as I enjoy it. You know what I mean? And if it's paying, if it pays all the bills, then 100% I'm 100% in. Yeah. But I think that's the transition that we need to find. And it's hard because when it comes down to it, like I've had this discussion with James all the time when we sit down and we're like, well, what do we really want out of life? What do we really want? And one day I was sitting down, I was like, I think I just want to be famous, dude. And I'd sound like an idiot, saying, right? I feel like an idiot saying it, but the truth of the matter is, yeah, right? That's what I want. I want to be able to sit down with enough people, listen to their stories, learn from enough people that I have a lot of friends. If I have 10,000 people at my funeral, then I've done my job right. Like I feel like I've achieved what I set out to achieve. Yeah. And as corny as it sounds, right? That's my truth.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear you say that, your truth. And for me, it's access to resources. And the more friends you have, the more relationships you have built, the more access you have to resources. And typically the more access you have to resources, the more opportunity. And if you are smart and respectful about how you pursue that opportunity, that can lead to safety and security. I think that's what we're all after is, safety and security. Safety and security,
they're your basic needs.
Yeah, basic needs. Getting those fulfilled, your basic needs fulfilled while waking up and doing what you love to do every day. And that is that's what we're all after.
That's what we're all after. Yeah, it's funny. You said talking to you in production mode, I got my mind on TV stuff. So, you say that whole little bit of security, I think of Naked and Afraid. What's your first priority, man? You got to put shelter up and we got to find clean water and food. It's the basic things that we need to get by. And we're doing the same thing here, maybe not Naked and Afraid, but we're doing that on a daily basis, right? How do I put a roof over my head? How do I put food on the table? How do I make myself safe and secure? Yeah. And the problem is we usually exchange that safety and security. We give up our freedom for that security, right? And we give it up by going to a 9-to-5 job. And I make the analogy of prison all the time. Prison, like maximum security prison, where they tell you when to get up, they tell you when to change, they tell you what to do. You have zero freedom. Well, that's us in a normal 9-to-5. If you wake up every day, you hit the snooze button, you don't want to go to work, you're giving up your freedom for that maximum security in that paycheck. Yeah. And that to me is scarier than anything. That to me is now I don't have freedom. That's the whole reason why you got into what you got into. So true. So true. And it's interesting because the medical community, or not community, but in medical education, we're taught that our basic needs, they give us the Maslow's hierarchy of needs model, and that the very basic need in that model is your physiological needs, so water and oxygen, right?
But I would argue that even before that is the relationships, is the support from others, because and Matt Lieberman talks about this in his book Social, famous I think he's Harvard psychological professor, but he says that, you know, a child, right, you have children, they would fail to thrive and die if you weren't there to nurture them through a certain period of time. And so even more important than oxygen and water is support from others. And I've seen that in the hospital, people who have great support systems versus people who don't, and just in life in general. And so it's funny because in school, you know, they don't teach us how to strategically build a support system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how to do that in a way that is beneficial to everyone that's involved, and that builds character, and that is good for this world.
A win-win situation.
Yeah, win-win situation. Like, we're still stuck, like you said, the modern day school system was birthed out of the Industrial Revolution, just pumping out factory workers, teaching people what to think, not how to think.
Yes.
So luckily that's changing, and with broadcast, technology, people are really able to empower themselves with all the information that they would like to feed their brain.
Yeah, now the issue, I think, is taking action.
Yeah.
Now you can sit and learn all you want.
So true.
And you can soak up so much, and you can be the brainiest person and the most knowledgeable individual in the world. But if you fail to take action,
yes.
now you have zero excuse for taking action, because you know exactly what steps to take and which order to take them. You just, for whatever reason. And I think that's one of those big things where support comes in now too. Now it's like, do you have the backing from your family to say, take that next step, right? Do you have the support, you know, or your friends saying, dude, you're an idiot. What are you doing that for? You already have a great job. Don't make that mistake. Like, one of those two situations is going to happen, and you're going to listen to something. You're going to either listen to the support that says, go for it. We have your back. You can do anything you want. Or you're going to listen to the one that says, you're an idiot. You shouldn't be doing that. You already have a safe, secure job. What are you thinking? Like, you know, those two things are going to come out, and you need to make a choice. Mm-hmm. That to me is, that's scary. Like, that's, and neither of those choices is really wrong. It's just, now you really have to choose, and whichever one you choose, you now have to be happy with that situation, and either decide that, okay, this is working for me, or I need to make a change again. Yeah. And that's the beauty of what the world we live in is. You can try it, and if you don't like it, just change it. Yeah. You don't have to stick to it till the very end. You can change at any time and alter your path in any direction. Mm-hmm. And you have the knowledge to figure out how. Yeah. Yeah. You can buy a course on how to make courses. Exactly. It's so neat. You know, it's so beautiful that we live in a time where you can self-educate yourself until you're sick in the face. But like you said, you have to find a way to really apply that information as soon as possible, because that's where the true learning happens. Yes. And I know that for me especially, you know, when I learned something new about a camera, you know, I realized, like, I need to start applying this and getting out and doing it as soon as possible, and with as little friction as possible. And I realized that, let's start on your passions. And that was always, you know, working out, dancing, you know, movement, talking with other people who are wise. Mm-hmm. So other people who have really interesting passions that they love to talk about and share with others. So that's where I spent a lot of time with my video production work over the past 6 months, building those skills. You know, I've been to a classic car show. My buddy built a really amazing classic car. My father and grandfather have always been car guys. They're huge gearheads. I've been to that took me to another one. The La Jolla Conqueror is one of the biggest ones in San Diego. And then I've done a couple of music videos for local artists, and it's a matter of just going out and getting your feet wet. Yeah. And just doing it.
Yeah, just
doing
man.
it for sure. All right, dude. I think we're running the bend on time, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, figured. Okay.
Nice.
One second.
I want you, Matt, to. This is gonna be your camera right here.
Okay.
So I want you to take a look at that camera, and if people want to get a hold of you, develop coursework, do some video work with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, the best way to get a hold of me is either just shoot a text. You can reach me at my phone number 858-775-3475, or go on my website, my company website. Check us out. Do a little bit of reading. I've got most of it built out. The reel is not up. I've been too busy just working for others right now. Not concerned, but go ahead, read our story and what we're about. And at the bottom of that, there's a contact button. You can put in your email information. Send me your information on the project that you are thinking of working on. And so either mattnugentproductions.com or text me, call me at 858-775-3475.
Boom. All right, Matt.
Yep.
And then, of course, who are you going to tag to be on the show next?
Ooh, man, I'm calling out Professor Michael J. McCann.
Michael J. McCann.
Yeah,
What's he a professor of?
He's a professor of communications.
Ooh.
Yeah, very interesting guy, very well spoken, very accomplished, yet he doesn't have a social media presence because he opted not to do that last couple of years. But now to focus on graduating with his doctorate degree, but now he's finished that. And,
so he's ready to get back into the world.
Yeah, now he's ready to work on his his projects. So
I'm curious to know what stuff a guy with a doctorate in communications is going to come up with.
Yeah, he's a professor at SDSU. So he's a good buddy of mine, and he would be a great guest to have on here, and it would be a great conversation to talk about broadcast media, because he is so knowledgeable when it comes to his studies in intercultural communication. So he travels the world studying this, like, communication.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So
see, like currently right now, I'm in the process of reading a book called The Network, the War of the Airwaves. So everything from taking Morse code all the way through the telegram, through radios, through TV, through color TV. Like, I want to know that whole era, that whole transition, what worked for certain companies, what didn't work for certain companies, because I just see the communication going in very similar directions. So if I can understand what happened in that history, maybe it'll help me in the future. You know what I mean? So I that's something that I would definitely want to sit down and talk to him about and learn from those who are smarter than me.
Always. And you got some love here. You got Leah Osborne, Nathan Lamar Bird, and Ciara Howard all saying how awesome you are and shouting out their hellos to you.
Oh, what's up, you guys? Thank you for showing love. And what's up, Nate? Dude, hope to make it to the Health and Wealth Network this weekend, man. Leah, thanks for always being there for me. And Ciara, how you doing? How you doing, girl? So.
Sweet. All right, last thing.
Oh, yeah.
Ask the hosts a question.
Ask the bros.
Ask the bros. That's what we're going to call
bros.
them. Ask the bros.
Ask the bros.
So you mentioned in the beginning of our conversation that you see, kind of what we're doing becoming commoditized. So my question to you is, how do you dumb that down for someone and really just who doesn't really quite understand what that means? What does that mean? And two, how will you guys have to evolve your podcast to deal with that and stay competitive and achieve what you would like to achieve?
Excellent question. So to commoditize something, I'll give you an example. So we all have cell phones, right?
Yeah.
So we literally can watch anything we want whenever we want at the click of a button. It didn't used to be that way. So if you rewind the clock 25 years and I wanted to get a message out, I would have to film it, using traditional film cameras, maybe digital, but mostly traditional film cameras, have somebody turn around and edit the content. Then I'd have to take that and go to a television studio and see if they can even air it during a specific time. The process was long and drawn out and very difficult to do, versus where today it's a matter of, if I want to get a message out, I literally take my phone out, I hit my story, I say whatever my message is, hit the send button, and I'm done.
Yeah. Right?
So it's much easier process. And as far as what we're doing is, podcasting has gotten easier. Developing, video footage has gotten easier. Editing has gotten easier. And it's just going to get easier and easier over time. We were talking about using a Sling Studio to do in live broadcasting, live editing. It's just going to get easier and easier. So do we have to adapt? 100%. And I think it's going to come down to, well, how niche do you want to get? So, and once you develop a strategy and you get good at it, there's A, develop the audience, and then B, what does that audience need, right? And if you can figure out what that audience needs and you're able to provide that, and you have that audience, then I think that's a different ballgame. So, and I was telling you that I was reading the books about, the network developing the airways, and they're talking about, when AM radio came out and when it was able to get broadcasted over a large span of people, and then when FM station came out, and all of a sudden people were like, wait, not only can I send this song so that other people can hear it, I can put advertising space in between that. And it became a fight for attention. It became a fight for what audience do I have? And I think that's where we're at today. It's a fight for an audience. So it's fair game. You have access to everybody out there just like everybody has access to anybody else. And so the faster you can develop an audience, the faster you can grow people who are caring about what you have to say and what you're putting out there, the bigger your network will be and the more opportunity you'll have. So I don't know, how much more we're advancing later in the future, but I do know that if it's about attention, we need to get it as much as we possibly can. Sure. So, that's why we do things like the podcast. That's why I do little other small clips. That's why we started doing the family vlog, because the attention that people have is different. Some people might not care about the Business Bros podcast, but they'll watch the family vlog. Right. And so I'm thinking, and I'm opening my eyes to that, and I'm saying, okay, well, maybe I should be recording when I go to the gym and I'm just starting back up after not going for like 2 years. Right. People would want to see that. Maybe it's not the Business Bros audience, and it's not the audience that wants to see the family vlog, but it's the people who are in fitness just struggling, thinking I need to start going back to the gym. So gaining the audience in any way you can, and then niching down into what you want to do, wherever it is that you want to decide to monetize, whether it's directly through your niche or around it on the outside, that's going to be a business choice going down the road. But I think it's all about audience.
Nice.
That's why he's the host.
Yeah.
I don't need to say a word. But that's also a difference between us. You talked about wanting to be famous earlier. And me, I don't need to be famous. I don't need my face on everything. I don't need people to know who I am. I just want the money.
Yeah,
I just want the money that goes along.
Fortune,
fame and fortune, I'll take the fortune. You can have the fame.
And that's funny because when we talk about money, I don't even look at money the same way that most people do. The wife and I actually have a conversation about money often, and she values it more than I do. I use it as a tool. For me, it's just like, here's a piece, here's something that I can invest in to grow. What does it cost? Okay, let's throw some money at it. And it's just a thing. When the money comes back as revenue, it's honestly more like a scorecard for me. Like in our household, the bills are already paid. Yeah.
Dan said the exact same thing yesterday too.
Yeah.
Crack me up.
Because in my household, the bills are already paid. Our teaching salaries pays our lifestyle. So there's no need for anything else. Everything else is just, extra stuff. But I love where I live. I don't plan on moving ever. I want to redo my backyard. That's probably the only thing. And aside from that, maybe it's pay off the mortgage. But other than that, I don't have huge aspirations for things. Yeah. I have bigger aspirations for growing like businesses. That's my favorite thing to do. If I can help 10 people become millionaires, I would be ecstatic through the roof. You know what I mean? That I've helped educate them or get them to a level where they want to go. Or maybe I've said something that inspires somebody to go out and change the world. That to me means more than any dollar amount that I can earn. Don't get me wrong. I love having revenue come in. I don't want to have to worry about money ever, but it's not my number one goal. That's why I think after we've talked about it a number of times, it's just famous. And when it really comes down to it's people look up to you, and that means that I've provided some sort of value.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been able to help others accumulate a lot of resources. Yeah.
Great segment, by the way. I like this Ask the Bros segment.
It's different, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Hey, just throw that out there. Everybody out there on Facebook listening in, we'll just throw something on the Instagram and, a little poll. Ask the Bros. Ask the Bros. Ask the Bros.
Ask the Bros. Matt, hey, man, thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for
really
having
appreciate
me.
You coming on and sharing. I mean, being the greatest gift you can give the show is your vulnerability to be open and share what it is you're doing, whether it's a huge success or you're just getting started. That is a huge, to me, is big, because there are people in all kinds of different stages in their life, and somebody out there is connecting with your story, and that's what it's about. So, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. It takes courage. It takes courage to, like you said, to fail in front of others, to look stupid, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's so I said that, that's what it's going to take if you want to build anything of value and interesting.
Oh, 100%. I look like an idiot every day, all day long, which reminds me, ladies and gents, check out the parody. Came out yesterday. If you like it, share it so more people can see it and laugh at me too. I really appreciate
shares
it.
Already.
It has. So thanks, guys. Thanks. Really appreciate it. 365 pairs of shoes by the end of the year. Speaking of sharing, so if you have some used shoes, new shoes, or cash you want to donate, hit James up 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. If you need insurance, whether it's for your personal, your life, your business, workers' comp, general liabilities, whatever it is, hit up James. Or if you want to add insurance into your particular business, maybe you are a tax office, maybe you're a lender, maybe you're a real estate office, hit James up 619-884-0045 or james@csfirst.com. And that's all we got for you guys today. Peace.
Bye-bye.
And I'm out. Bye, Facebook. We love you.
Thanks, Facebook.
Take care, you guys. Chat with you on the next one.
Boom.